News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. This is pretty cool. A brand new poll that was done by University of Houston and Texas Southern University, as published and reported in the Dallas Morning News. This recent survey says that vouchers are popular with a lot of Texans, especially among people whose children are most likely to be in underperforming schools. What did I tell you a few weeks ago when we talked about this last time? I told you that this is a civil rights issue. And some of you have said, well, Chris, it's not written in our Constitution, etc. I know that. But I consider it a civil rights issue because some people cannot get out of or escape these horrific schools, whether they be in the Stop 6 neighborhood of Fort Worth or South Dallas. It doesn't matter. Many people cannot get out of a horrible and failing school. And now a brand new poll shows, as reported by the Dallas Morning News, that vouchers are popular with a lot of Texans, and especially among people whose children are most likely to be in underperforming schools. You're about to hear some shocking statistics that are very, very good for what I've been telling you and how I've been telling you how I feel and the positions I have on vouchers. And it is, of course, that I totally support them and that I think it's a civil rights issue, and that the first time I ever heard anything about it, about vouchers and how they work and what they are, is when I watched a national news story that watched black women, a whole bunch of black women. They were at their school districts, they had like a raffle where they would, it was like your son was in the draft and maybe he was going to get picked or not or when. And you see these parents just cry with emotion, very understandably, of pride and of amazement, shock, and joy that their son has been picked by the NFL team and will earn hopefully millions of dollars and more, and get fame, fortune, and power from their humble means that they've come up from. And I saw these African-American women on this national story, and I saw them weeping when their son was picked in the raffle, or whatever you want to call it, to get a voucher. And it meant everything to me to see that. And that's the moment I felt like it was a civil rights issue. And that just because they're in a terrible school district or they go to a terrible school and they're not allowed to transfer doesn't mean they should have to stay in there. And these are the ways you can get out of poverty. And so Governor Abbott has been trying to push this, and the most disgusting thing ever is who has been against it. You're not going to believe it. But this new poll shows that 69% of Texans 69% of Texans support educational savings accounts or vouchers, and that 64% support them for low-income parents alone. And this includes a majority of Democrats support this in Texas. Vouchers. Support is highest among black Texans. Out of all of them, 70% of black Texans support it. And I told you it's a civil rights issue. What do you think now? It gets better. 60% of Hispanics support. Actually, it's north of 60%. And among white Texans, this is the best. This shows you why my position is so strong and right. White Texans was very strong support still, but it was the lowest among the three groups of black, Hispanic, and white. And here I am touting something that has a higher support among black Texans and Hispanic Texans than white Texans. It says, I don't give a frog's fat whose side anybody's on. What is right is right. So I want to hear from you right now and how you feel about this. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. How important is getting school choice and or vouchers to you And do you think a good education is like a civil rights issue? I'll put it that way, like a civil rights issue. That way, I don't want to argue about whether it is a civil right. It's like one. And how much support do you have for getting a voucher for your child? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. I want to hear from you. How important is getting school choice / vouchers to you? And do you think getting a good education is like a civil rights issue? Like a civil rights issue. And how much support do you have for getting a voucher for your child? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Lines wide open for you. I want to continue on with this results of this survey. It's just fantastic. And then, of course, some people are like, well, he's not going to give enough money for a private school. We had one gentleman that called in one night on. He's like, well, he's not going to give us enough money. It's only like $8,000 or $9,000. No. I'll tell you about that in a second, but I wanted to tell you, as I mentioned earlier, that I was going to get to this. Who are the number one people trying to kill vouchers in Texas? Do you know who they are? Do you know what party they're part of, Republican or Democrat? They're Republicans. And they're rural Republicans. These bleepity bleeps. And guess who gave them money? Helped them change their mind and be against them? The teachers' unions. The big ones, the liberal Democrat, radical leftist, socialist, Marxist teachers unions who want your son to be able to decide he's a girl and thwack his yak off, and you not even to know about it, and for the counselors in the school system to be their new parent and to hide it from you. People like that, the people that killed children's chances of getting an education for 2 to 3 years, the national teachers unions, the Randy Weingartens of the world, they put money in the pockets of rural Republicans to get them to vote no. And so Governor Greg Abbott, I don't always back him 120%, etc. I certainly do not. But he did an amazing thing. He handpicked all of those people. There's about, 5 or 10 of them or more in rural Texas. And he said publicly, I'm going to throw those bleeps out and I'm going to get them replaced. And he hyper-focused on that. Like a good ADHD person does, like me and my son. We hyper-focus. Sometimes we hyper-focus on bad things and then we hurt ourselves. Not physically, but like with our chances of doing things. And he did it and he succeeded. And now the slate is clean, and now they can vote him in, and he's going to propose that. So we don't have all the numbers. Lisa in Euless, you are on WBAP. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for being on the air. So I wanted to call in and talk about my experience with the lottery system, because I have a child that was on a waiting list for 1.5 years before I got picked. Wow. For a better school. And it was amazing. And there was a wave of emotion. And I believe it is like a civil rights issue, because this is the difference between learning life skills that they have in better equipped schools and never picking up everything that you need to succeed.
And being around people who can teach you how to be more qualified and better. I didn't know how to do a resume when I was in my first year of junior college or whatever, and one of my best friends, we went into his mom's room. This is when computers weren't, very well available, and we sat at her desk, and he helped me type up a resume. His mother taught him.
Yeah, it's amazing what you miss in a less well-equipped school. How to network, how to talk to someone professionally. Those are more givens in other schools. And
being like, well, there's no way I can make that. And be like, yes, there is. What do you mean? I'm doing it. You can do it. Here's what you got to do. Oh, and they try it. My wife had that. At the time in high school, her boyfriend's parents were like, no, you're going to college. And they coached her and helped her to encourage her to apply and da-da-da. She never would have even gone to college, which is where I met her and swept her off her feet. If it wasn't for that ex-boyfriend's whatever, he can go to hell, but I'm glad his parents shared me with him. I'm just kidding about going to hell, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so where were you when you got in the lottery thing? Is it local or was this in another state?
It was local. Okay. In Tarrant County.
Okay. So it changed everything for you, and you do feel it's civil right. Okay, so you're one of the 70% of Texans who support it. Yeah.
And I happen to be white, and so I'm also with you. I'm celebrating this, and it is a world of difference. And these schools are less than a mile apart. It's incredible.
Okay, now that's amazing for you. So you love it. It's going great. How long's it been now?
She just completed her first year, and she's going back for 5th grade.
What has it done? What's the difference? Quickly, what's the difference it's made? What's happened in the year that you've gone over the voucher system and won the lottery to get in there?
She's gone from being bullied relentlessly and all of the adults doing nothing, even when they draw blood, to being able to compete in drone and computer programming on a national scale.
How do you feel that's going to affect her trajectory over the next 20 years, 30 years of her life?
It will completely change her trajectory, and she'll be set up for success and have the life skills that she needs to be able to be resilient in the future.
Last question. What's her first name? What's her age?
Her name is Arazia, and she's 10.
I'm very happy for you. It brings me joy to hear your story, and I'm grateful that you called in, Lisa.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Continue to be amazing on the air. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. How important is getting school choice / vouchers to you? And do you think a good education is like a civil rights issue like Lisa and I do? And how much support do you have for getting a voucher for your child? 800-288-9227 is our number, 800-288-9227. Nobody knows what the proposal will be, but it's going to be introduced and it's going to pass because Governor Abbott made sure to throw the 5 to 15 Republicans that were against it that wouldn't let it get passed in the last legislature. You're going to see it come up this next year. 800-288-9227 is a number. Chime in right now. And then we got the Supreme Court saying we will not stop the Trump sentencing in the New York City Stormy Daniels conviction. I cannot wait to talk to you about that, too, and what the consequences of that are going to be, and will he go to jail or not? Next. Vouchers, unbelievable and beautiful. 69% of Texans support education savings account for all parents. 64% support them for low income parents alone, just only. So basically 70% support them. If it's just for low-income parents, 64% support them. That includes a majority of Democrats, says the Dallas Morning News. The poll is from University of Houston and Texas Southern University, brand new poll. They find that support was highest among Black Texans. Yes! 70% supported it for all parents. 72% of blacks support vouchers for low-income parents alone. So it's almost exactly the same for both sides, really. Hispanic support is over 60%. And white Texans, very, very strong still, but the lowest among the three groups. I'm proud to say that I support things that, without knowing, are supported by more blacks than whites, more Hispanics than whites. I don't give a frog's fat. You know what? The point is I want people to win. I think it's a civil rights issue, like a civil rights issue is what it is, like one. Not exactly a civil right, but it's like one. Very, very much the same thing to me personally. So let's talk to you about that. Do you support vouchers? How important is getting school choice / vouchers to you? And do you think a good education is like a civil rights issue? And how much support do you have for getting a voucher for your child? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's go to Maxine in Dallas. Maxine, you are on WBAP. What's up?
Hey, this is Maxine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I've lived in Dallas, Texas for about 12 years, and I lived in San Antonio before that. Mm-hmm. And I just find like there is a huge divide right now between private schools and public schools, especially in the actual city limits. And I feel like there needs to be something done about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But there needs to be something done, not just with the government, but there needs to be something where the parents need to be also held accountable as well.
Yes. And do you feel that if these folks are able to choose, that accountability can happen because they'll leave if it's not a good school to be at?
Well, I mean, if there's not so they can choose to go to what school they want to go.
You can take the allotted money. You can stay at the school you're at, or you can take the allotted money to use it towards a private school or wherever you want.
Yeah, to where there has been those tax cuts. But unfortunately, those people that have had those tax cuts are not going to use those to
this isn't a tax cut. This isn't a tax cut. There's 3 different versions how this works. There's vouchers, there's ESAs, there's tax cuts. We don't know the exact version they're going to use, but they're going to use one of those most likely.
So which one do you think they're going to?
I don't know. I mean, we don't know. But the amount of money is what will be in the law, along with what they'll be, vouchers or. I
mean, Dallas is in bankruptcy right now, so I mean, there needs to be some sort of change in the infrastructure of the school system that is public in Dallas County.
Well, what's cool is if you don't like your school, then you can go to another school. You can go to a private school. You can go to a Catholic school. You can go to Christian school.
Correct, but it is an astronomical amount of money.
No, you can take the voucher and go to places that you'd rather go to.
So but that would come out of taxpayers' dollars.
Well, I mean, do you want to pay, if you look at the money, like the numbers of taxpayer dollars that go into a student at Dallas, at a school in Dallas or, other schools that are failing, might be more than it is to go to a private school that is an amazing place.
No, I completely understand that. I've had my family go to private schools my whole life. I
got a roll, but are you saying you don't support them, or that you do support getting vouchers?
That is going to just depend on
the proposal.
On
the proposal, it depends on what the proposal is.
I mean, absolutely. And super side note, we've got to fix our GD road system. Like, our roads are atrocious.
I appreciate your call, and I'm glad you censored yourself. Thank you for your call, Maxine. All right, Billy in Copper's Grove? Copper's Cove. That's in Austin. You are coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Chris Crock Show, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 is our number. Vouchers, 72% of Texans in a new University of Houston, Texas Southern University poll commission, 69% of voters support vouchers. 72% of Black Texans support them for low-income people, and 70% of Black Texans support them for everybody. It's pretty much the same. Hispanic support is over 60% in both categories. White Texans, very strong support, but the lowest among the 3 groups, which is not terribly surprising to me. But I've supported them vocally for, I don't even know, 15, 20 years. And so I'm glad that what's going to happen here in Texas shortly, because Governor Abbott tried it. It didn't pass by a slim margin. And it was because of rural Republicans who were literally on the take, getting really good political donations from the national teachers unions. How sickening to see that they were able to change the minds or influence the minds of rural Republicans. So Governor Greg Abbott said, don't worry, I'll hyper-focus on them and get them out and replace them with people who support vouchers. And he did just that. And now the next legislative term here is coming up. Texas goes back to in session here, I think in January, for the House and the Senate. So that'll be fantastic, and I look forward to it being passed. And we don't have all the information on it, like how much money, etc. Is it a voucher? Is it a tax credit? Is it an ESA? which is another version of them. There's 3 different kind of versions of them, apparently. But I'm a supporter, and I look forward to this. How about you? How important is getting getting school choice or vouchers, whatever it is, however you want to call it, to you? How important is it to you? And do you think a good education is like a civil rights issue, as I do? And how much support do you have for getting a voucher for your child? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Let's go to Billy in Coppers Cove, which is just north of Austin. You, sir, are on WBAP. What's up?
I'm on the fence on this one because I have a lot of reservations about this vouchers, because what I've read so far is the vouchers are only good once they go to this private school, they're there for the year. But this private school can, after this October 1st, the money doesn't follow the kid anymore. So if the private school kicks the kid out, he goes back to the public school without the money.
Well, you said. Hold on 1 second. You said after. What did you say after the
October 1st?
Okay, we don't even have them in our laws right now. So how would there be a deadline on something that hasn't even passed our legislation? Let me finish the question. Let me finish the question. How would you be against something because it ends October 1st when it hasn't even begun and it hasn't even become law yet?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the voucher that goes with the kid to the private school goes to that school immediately September 1st when they go to school. Correct?
No. No, that's not correct.
Well, then how do you expect it's going to go then?
We don't know because the law. Hold on, sir. The law has not even been drafted and hasn't been passed. So any proposals, including dates and stuff, we're not going to know any of that until it happens. You're saying that school starts September 1st where you're at? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just putting that number out there because that's what it used to start.
Okay, see.
Well, I'm just saying when the school starts September 1st, that school right now by the state of Texas is allotted that much money for them students.
Here's the thing. You don't know what the voucher number will be, and you don't know how it will work. So I literally can't answer any of that. The question is...
And that's my problem with it. We don't have enough information to throw it out there.
Well, of course you don't have any information. I mean, it hasn't even... The law hasn't been even... The draft hasn't even been made. I'm just asking you if the concept is something you support.
Oh, the concept is a great idea. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think it should ruin public schools for the private schools. Because the private schools and the private schools do not have to go by the same.
But don't you like that?
Oh, do I like it? Yes.
No, because you don't like the fact that a private school can kick you out if you're a miscreant, if you're misbehaving.
I do like that, but I don't like the fact that the public school has to take them and they can't kick them out.
Well, that's just because there's no other choice. And then, so you know what the public school will have to do, though? You know what the public school will have to do then? They'll have to actually become. Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying, sir. We have a two-way. What the public school has to do is the public school has to figure out a way to make it attractive to go to that school, unless they want to have all miscreants. So they're going to get better in their attempt to make the students a better student. How are public schools right now? Are they working for us?
Well, it depends on where you're at in the big city.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's like a civil rights issue, isn't it?
I don't see it as a civil rights issue. I think it's going to be a civil rights issue if that voucher passes like I think it will.
So you're more worried about, because I'll tell you what I'm worried about, and why I've supported it since day one, seeing those African-American women crying on a national news story when their son won the freaking lottery to get out of their horrifying school. And
that's the same as the ones crying that their kids got stabbed in the bathroom. You know, it's not any different there.
So they should, your logic doesn't make sense to me. So they should stay in the bad school and get stabbed to death if they're a good student?
What I'm saying is, it's what you're going to do is you're going to put all the miscreants in one school.
Well, that'll be good. They'll be in one school. They'll be in one school, and the school will have to figure it out, won't they?
Oh, yeah, but the private school won't. But they'll still be getting the funding.
No, they won't be they will not be getting the funding unless the students come in and stay there. And once they're full, they're going to say no more, and they're going to have to go somewhere else, and they're going to be able to take their voucher and go somewhere else.
Okay, and now the next problem I have with it is what they're going to do to.
I don't even understand what the problem. Well, okay, what's next?
Texas high school football. What are them coaches going to do? They're
Who cares?
Recruit kids?
I literally don't care.
Cares?
I don't care about football. I
do.
care about. Okay, look, the kid can become a killer or a rapist or a murderer or get shot on the street or go to a good school. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to what you're saying. You care about football. I don't care about football. I care about the kid's future. This country does not, when it comes to the success of this country and the vitality of this country, our economy, our way of life, this country just collapsing, which is on its way towards right now, in my opinion, unfortunately, is going to be a lot better likely to go on the right direction if people get the education they need. Football could die. It could never exist starting right now, and people would still be the same as far as thriving or not. You know, to me, I would say, who cares?
That's exactly what you're saying about the public school system.
So you're saying you want to force kids. You're saying you'd rather force kids and ruin their ability to learn and grow into an education and become a successful citizen. You'd rather force them to not have that chance so that football will succeed.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, so you're saying that what's going to happen is they're going to be forced to stay at a failing school so that football can win, and we can still have football.
No, what I'm saying is they will have private schools going out there recruiting football players, and then as soon as football's over, send them away.
Yeah, to a college scholarship. What's wrong with sending them away when they get a degree?
They'll be sending them back to the public school when they kick them out of that school.
Why would they kick them out of school? But you're saying that are you telling me? Okay, what I'm hearing you now say is that private schools
have that option and public schools don't.
Right. So you're telling me that every football player that is good gets kicked out of a school because they're not bad? Everything you're saying is like literally makes absolutely no sense and falls on its own self with its own. I mean, its own logic falls on itself and collapses. Huh?
Every kid in that school could get kicked out at any moment.
Yes, if they're bad. So now you're saying to me that I mean, of course you're going to get kicked out in the voucher system. Don't you want the bad kids to get kicked out of your school when your son's in there?
Well, yeah, but I want to kick out of the public school too. I want the public school to have the same.
No, if your kid's getting stabbed in the pub, if your kid's getting stabbed, the beauty of this is if your kid's getting stabbed or going to be stabbed at a public school, you can get the heck out of there. You want them to stay in there and get stabbed. Sir, your logic is amazing to me. No offense, I'm not trying to be mean on you, brother, but I hope you cannot affect anything. I hope you have no ability to affect any policy in any city and never hold a government job in any way, shape, or form. Unless it's going to be something where, unless you want to harm people. I would recommend you stop. How about that? Instead of saying, I hope you don't go, how about I just say, you should never go into a government job or run for any office unless you want to use it to harm people. That you would be good at with your logic I'm hearing tonight. I don't want to be rude, but it's. I mean, are you guys as mesmerized or like blown away as this? Yeah, we're all sitting here like, yeah, okay. There's literally three of my colleagues, and we're all in wonderment of how you want children to be stabbed in school, not be able to leave a failing school, and you're worried about football ruining. All right, thank you, sir. I would not want to be on this team, sir. Thank you. All right. I'm just still sitting here. I'm in awe. I just want to sit on this for a moment. I don't know what's going on. All right. Coming up next, I suppose we should go. I'm in wonderment right now. I'm in just a wonderment moment. I should say we're in a moment of wonderment. I am. Supreme Court will not stop Trump's sentencing going ahead in the Stormy Daniels trial. It's not a hush money trial. There was no hush money. It's not hush money. Doing non-disclosure agreements are very, very, very commonplace. And many famous celebrities and many Democrat politicians across this country have had people sign them too. It's not hush money. It's just an NDA. All right. So it is I just call it the Stormy Daniels New York case. Supreme Court will not stop from sentencing from go ahead. So he can be put in jail in September. So we'll talk about the effects of that and how you think it's going to go. And you can chime in right now. Lines wide open. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Supreme Court will not stop the Trump sentencing. He had asked for them to consider it because for many reasons. This coming in from The Guardian today. I mean, it's been all over our news. Supreme Court will not decline to halt Trump's upcoming sentencing for his conviction in New York State courts on the felony charges of the Stormy Daniels case. And also, he's like, hey, let me talk with the gag order, and they won't take that away from him, too. The decision came in response to a lawsuit by the state of Missouri. Actually, so it wasn't him, it was the state of Missouri, that the case that Trump infringed on the right of voters under the Constitution to hear from the Republican presidential nominee as he seeks to regain the House. I mean, we have the right to know. Although he does have free reign to say a lot of stuff, and it's just about certain things with the case. Trump is sentenced to be sentenced on 18th of September, found guilty, blah, blah, blah. He is the Republican Party nominee. So my questions for you, we cannot put it out of the realm of possibility that he will not be sentenced to jail. He could be sentenced to jail. Judge Juan Merchan is absolutely a leftist political operative. His daughter has made millions and millions of dollars off of her dad's trial because she works for in the Biden advocacy Democrat Party sphere, and her job is to make Trump look bad and to get Joe Biden elected. And so Dad made sure to do a really, really good job so his daughter could stay in employment, and he did his part to make sure that Trump would be convicted. And he did a great job doing that, even though it was not a conviction merited case. So what kind of a sentence do you think the judge in Trump's Stormy Daniels case will actually give Trump? And if he's jailed, how do you think that would affect his chances of winning in November? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I can tell you this. Every time they devise a scheme or a plan to destroy Trump, it looks like it's really bad, and then it turns on them, and he wins. Take, for example, these cases, all these quick cases. Some of them have been tossed out. Some of them are going to be delayed until after the election. But Trump's numbers surged after the first one was announced, and then after the second one, after the third one. He has surged because of this. Now, he is losing as of right now. It's tied / he's losing, and he's going to continue to be on the losing side the more he does what he's been doing. We'll talk about that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, along with the imminent war headed to the Middle East within between 12 and 48 hours from right now. Actually, probably between 12 and 30 hours from now is when Iran's going to strike. And we're there with so many ships, warships, and fighter jets. I'll tell you about that next. If he, nobody knows how the electorate would react if he's jailed, but I think it'll help him get elected. I don't think it's going to hurt him. I think it will help get him elected. Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. We'll continue to follow this story. And coming up next, I want to get into the imminent war that is about to happen. Well, I mean, it's definitely war when you do a massive attack from 3 different angles, which is what we're hearing, 3-4 different angles from 3-4 different countries, all done by Iran. So that's coming up next. Are Biden and Kamala going to do anything about this imminent war in the Middle East? Are they doing a good job of protecting us? And would Trump have prevented us from getting into this in the first place? That is next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.